Hey guys, this is Benji Lewis with Kansas City Hardscapes. Just wanted to do another short video on the different choices that you have on walls. Walls would be anything that is a vertical structure, right? So it doesn't just have to be a retaining wall. It could be a little seating wall, could be a fire pit, could be a fireplace, could be an outdoor grill station, lots of things that it can be. So anywhere that you're gonna go vertical, you have kind of two main choices, which is pre-made wall blocks, right? So you have the wall blocks that you just stack on top of each other and you build walls, right? Some of them are built for retaining. So they have edges and pin systems and all kinds of things, and that's what they're made for. Or the other option is you can do stone veneer, which is probably on the fronts of a lot of your homes already, right? Which is a stone that's cut pretty thin, just a couple inches thick, and it is mortared up against the substrate behind it, right? Whether that is concrete or could really adhere to just about anything, just depends on what's there and how you want to do that. So the main thing I want to go over is the difference in the pricing, right? Which is what most people want to know, is which one's more expensive, or why is it more expensive, or what's the deal? So the most economical version are the blocks. So and the simpler the block is, typically the more economical the price, right? Kind of makes sense. That's kind of how everything is in life. Which is, if you're just taking your standard, like Belgard makes one called a Weston wall block. It is just a standard rectangle block. You stack them, you put a top cap on it, whatever you want. A lot of people put a trap cap, they'll call it, or there's just a rectangle cap, or you could put a limestone cap if you want to make it a little fancier. That's kind of what that wall is. Now, if you want to have it upgraded, right, there's a different price to put on like stone veneer. And the reason for that is somewhat material costs, because think of stone block walls, right? Like a retaining wall block is something where we put the base down, we put the blocks, and we stack them up, and we're done, and we walk away. Where with stone veneer, it's completely different, where we take, typically people are going to put cinder blocks, right? It's a CMU block, and they're going to build the wall with CMU block, and they're going to mortar it all together, and they're going to rebar, and they're going to fill all the voids to make it structurally sound. And then once that's all built and done, then we come back through, and then we got to put stone veneer on the entire thing. So we kind of have to build it twice. Is stone veneer twice the price? No, it's not twice the price, but there's a substantial upgrade for that. Now, for that upgrade too, you do get, most people would consider a nicer look, right? So a lot of times retaining wall blocks, there's not a lot of design to them. The color choices are very limited, right? It's kind of either light gray, some dark gray, light tan, dark tan, right? I mean, it's kind of grays and tans and different shades of those, and a lot of them kind of end up looking all the same. Now with stone veneer, the options are endless, right? There are darks and reds and blues and grays and tans and you name it. And do you want mortar between them? Do you want them dry stacked, or right on top of them, or you can't see any mortar? Do you want over mortar? There's all sorts of options on how that's installed and the look that you're wanting. Do you want long, skinny stone veneer that is stacked on each other and randomly set, or do you want big, huge pieces? Or some big pieces with little pieces. So the design element, the design options are a lot higher with stone veneer. But again, like with anything in life, the more options and the nicer looking things cost a little bit more. So it's kind of, the decision is with the homeowner. To us, it doesn't matter. We're just going to say, hey, here's our price for this block, and if you want that grill station and stone veneer to match the front of your home, it's going to be this much, because it just takes a little bit longer, right? There's more labor. At the end of the day, that's kind of what we are selling to you, is labor and materials, right? That's really, hey, you pick this material, it costs this much, it's going to take us this long to put it in. That's the two biggest pieces of what we're selling. But I just wanted to kind of go into that to kind of explain, like, hey, why is it more? What's the difference? And when you talk about veneer, and before I go, let me talk about, there's two different kinds of veneer, really, right? So there's a bajillion different kinds of veneer. But overarching, there are one that they'll call cultured or manufactured, which means they're made of concrete in essence, right? They're put into molds, colored, and then they look like stone veneer. A lot of your homes have that on it. You might not even know that it's not real stone, because it looks pretty good. Now, of course, the next step up is natural stone. So they actually take natural stone, make stone veneer out of it, and we use that. And that of course is more expensive, because that was made by God thousands of millennia ago, and we take it out. Someone has to take it out of the earth, cut it, make sure it's right, do it, instead of going, hey, let's just pour concrete into molds and make stone veneer pieces. So that's kind of your, I would call it, there's 4 levels, right? There's low-end block, which are a pretty simple block that are decorative and look nice and are useful. We typically sell the most of that. The next step up is a retaining wall block, which is not just to look good, but it also hold back earth, you know, or make part of your yard flattened out, because it's going to hold back all that, you know, there's a lot of weight and pressure behind a wall, so it needs to be stronger. So it's got lips and pin systems and different things like that. So that's the next step up. It's a little bit more expensive. Then you've got cultured or manufactured stone veneer, which is man-made, but still looks pretty nice. And then the highest would be a natural stone veneer wall. That is really nice, lasts forever. You know, if it doesn't last forever, you can take it up with the manufacturer. He lives up in the sky, but usually that stuff is going to be your strongest best bet. But that's why it's the most expensive. Same reason why Mercedes costs more than Toyotas or Kias or anything else, is that supposedly made a little better, a little stronger, going to last longer. But all of those walls, whatever material you choose, still has our 15-year warranty on it. So we're still saying that we are going to put it in the correct fashion, right? We put ours on a concrete footer, right? We don't use crushed stone, we're not using AB3, and we're not compacting all that stuff. So we're going to put 3/4 inch clean gravel as a base. We're going to compact that, and then we're going to put a concrete base over that. It's where this thing really never moves. We're going to, of course, have backfill of gravel to make sure the drainage is good, and drainage behind the walls, and all that kind of fun stuff. All of those have our 15-year warranty behind them, so that you can kind of be sure that, hey, you're not going to have any issues, and if there are any issues, we're going to step right in and take care of them. So if you have any other questions, give us a call anytime. Check us out at kansascityhardscapes.com, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.